simulation is active, initializing the life sim protocol.
It's 4:15 a.m. You're 34, a psychologist in a maximum security ward. Your life is a series of standardized tests and scorched coffee, listening to the cadence of lies. The mundane stability shatters when the warden enters without knocking, flanked by 3 men in tactical gear who don't belong to the Department of Corrections. Elias Thorne, a financier for global insurgencies, has requested the doctor. You walk into the room with nothing but a yellow legal pad and a glass of water. At the 4-hour mark, Thorne begins to weep. 10 minutes later, he gives up the dead drop locations. You walk out, and the man in the charcoal suit is waiting. He hands you an NDA that carries a mandatory life sentence. You are no longer an employee, you are an asset. A week later, you are standing in the White Room, a subterranean chamber 6 stories beneath a nondescript office park in Northern Virginia. This is your new reality. There are no bars, no windows, and no clocks. The lighting is calibrated to disrupt the circadian rhythm, and the temperature is kept at a constant, uncomfortable 62 degrees. Your job is not to inflict pain. Pain is for amateurs who want a confession that will be recanted in court. Your job is to extract actionable truth. You operate on the class bridge theory, the idea that every human has a fundamental need to be understood. You become their only friend, their only confessor, and their only hope for a moment of genuine human connection in a world of absolute isolation. You spend 6 months breaking down a disgraced Russian oligarch by discussing 19th century poetry until he casually mentions the offshore accounts funding a private mercenary army in the Donbass. You realize that information is not a secret to be guarded. It is a weight that every man eventually wants to put down. You are simply the one who offers to carry it for them. By your 3rd year, you have developed a reputation as the architect of the break. You are summoned to black sites in Poland, floating prisons in the Indian Ocean, and ghost houses in the suburbs of Dubai. You move through the hierarchy of the world's most dangerous men like a surgeon through a trauma ward. You deal with the true believers, terrorist masterminds who view their silence as a ticket to paradise. For them, you don't use empathy, you use the entropy method. You show them the slow, systematic dismantling of their legacy. You show them photos of their lieutenants turning informant, their families being relocated under new identities, and their names being erased from their own propaganda. You make them feel like the world has already forgotten them while they are still breathing. You watch their heart rates on the monitors, tracking the exact millisecond their resolve flickers. When a man realizes he is no longer a martyr but a footnote, he talks. You feel the moral weight of these sessions like a lead vest. You are manipulating the most sacred parts of the human psyche, identity, faith, and love, and turning them into weapons of the state. You can no longer have a normal conversation with your handler without calculating the percentage of truth in their greeting. You see the world as a series of pressure points and vulnerabilities. Your status grows until you are assigned to Subject 0, a man whose identity is a state secret so high that even you are only allowed to see him through a one-way mirror for the first month. He is a high-level mole within the very intelligence community that employs you, a man who has traded the identities of deep cover assets for 20 years. He knows the interrogation techniques better than you do. He knows the White Room, the entropy method, and the glass bridge. Sitting across from him is like playing a game of chess against a mirror. He doesn't look at the water you offer, he looks at the way your thumb twitches when you mention his daughter. He begins to interrogate you. He tells you about the psychological toll of your profession. He predicts that in 5 years, you will either be a vegetable or a traitor. This is the ultimate power dynamic struggle. You are no longer extracting information, you are fighting for the survival of your own mind. You respond by abandoning all your established protocols. You stop being the professional. You start telling him the truth, the real, ugly truth about why you left your life in the prison ward, the guilt you feel for the families of the men you've broken, and the emptiness of the subterranean world you inhabit. You gamble everything on the idea that even a traitor cannot resist the allure of a shared burden. It works. He breaks, not out of fear or logic, but out of a perverse sense of kinship. He gives you the names of the remaining moles, but the victory feels like a terminal diagnosis. Now, at year 10, you are the chief strategist for strategic extractions. You no longer enter the room unless the stakes are existential. You sit behind a wall of monitors, directing a team of younger interrogators, whispering instructions into their earpieces like a dark god. You tell them when to lean in, when to offer a cigarette, and when to walk out of the room for exactly 12 minutes to maximize the subject's anxiety. You have become a ghost in the machine of global security. Your bank accounts are filled with special service bonuses, and you live in a high-security compound where the guards are the only people you see. You read the news and see the sudden accidental deaths of warlords or the unexpected resignations of corrupt prime ministers, and you know exactly which sentence, uttered in which windowless room, led to those outcomes. You are the invisible hand that corrects the course of history through the medium of the human voice. The moral tension has long since calcified into a cold, professional detachment. You tell yourself that you are the barrier between civilization and the abyss, but you know that you are the one who stares into the abyss for a living. You have extracted information that could topple the global economy, end dynasties, and trigger wars, and you have buried it all in the deep vaults of your memory. Your only fear is the day a new door opens, and you find yourself on the other side of the table, facing a version of yourself who knows exactly which glass of water to offer. The buzzer sounds. A new subject has arrived, a chemist who specializes in nerve agents. You pick up your yellow legal pad, check the seals on the door, and step into the white room. The game begins again, and the truth is the only thing that matters, no matter how much it costs to hear it.